Hello, hello, everyone. Minasan, konnichiwa. My name is Yoshi Domoto. I'm the Executive Director of the Japan America Society of Georgia. Thank you so much for joining us today for our very special workshop and webinar on Ikigai, reimagining your career and life in 2021. Certainly, Ikigai is the Japanese secret to waking up with joy and purpose every day. So we are so thrilled that you are joining us today as we tackle how we can make 2021 the best year yet. At this time, I would like to introduce you to our guest presenter and Miss Nozomi Morgan. Many of you know her very well, but Nozomi-san leads a team of experts in developing global leaders through her company, Michiki Morgan Worldwide. Her team helps organizations develop co-created culture, which she believes is the foundation for individuals and organizations to fulfill their purpose in this world. And certainly Ikigai is one of those tools too, right? So without further ado, let's, with a virtual round of applause, welcome Miss Nozomi Morgan. Nozomi-san, yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
こちらこそよろしくお願いします。Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. It's so great to have you here. Happy Friday. I'm just so excited. It's Friday. So before we get started, I want to do some warm-ups here so everyone can get used to using Zoom. So let's start with, in the chat box, if you just enter, where are you joining in from? I'm joining in from Atlanta, the suburbs of Atlanta, actually. Oh, and your son, Atlanta, too. So in the chat box, if you can enter where you're joining in from. Oh, cool. We have Michigan. We have Atlanta, Minneapolis. I think I saw Dunwoody, Greenville, Chicago, Atlanta, Southern California, North Carolina, Charlotte. Wonderful. Oh, this is extremely exciting. We have people from all over the states. And I know time-wise, probably joining in from Japan is a little bit difficult because some of our programs that we do at JSG, we make or in the mornings or in the evenings, we have people from Japan. But wonderful. This is great. Super excited to have everyone here. Keep on coming if you haven't entered yet where you're from. And then next question, what are you most excited about today? So what are you most excited about today? It could be anything. If you don't know what it is, that's fine too. Just say, I'm not sure. But what are you most excited about today? So for me, I'm really excited to share about Ikigai. This is a topic that I'm extremely passionate about, and I think especially at this time when we had a very hard, interesting year in 2020 and 2021 still. So I'm really excited to share this with you. So how about you? I see the beautiful weather, learning more about Ikigai and Friday. Yes. Getting outside, riding your bike. Yes. Oh, and so Lynn, you read the book. That's wonderful. Great. So please, keep that coming. Let us know what you're most excited about today. Oh, Thai takeout for dinner. That sounds good. It's lunchtime here in Atlanta, so I'm getting a little hungry. So that makes me hungry. Thank you, Kasha. Wonderful. Great. Okay. So let's go to the next question. So this might be a heavy one. So how was 2020 for you? The question is, how was 2020 for you? If you can enter in the chat box. Great year. Great, Ramona. Awesome. Sarah says challenging but more family time. Yeah, absolutely. Busy. Great, great, great. Difficult. I hear that a lot. Blessing and a curse. Yes. There's two sides, right? Yeah, Jeff used the time to rethink old assumptions. I love that. I love that. Lots of learning, not very good. Oh, great. So much coming in. Good, good. Crazy, challenging, miss traveling, enlightening. Beautiful, beautiful. Great. So 2020 for me was a year that I was able to really rethink what was important for me and for my family and for my life. It's a question I think about a lot, but especially for 2020, it allowed me the space and time, and also because of the space and time, I had more energy, I should say, to think about that. So that was my 2020. I see Graham says mixed bag. Yeah, I hear you. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, and keep that coming too. If you haven't entered how 2020 was for you, keep on entering that. So we'll be using the chat box a lot today. We have a wonderful group of people, and I really want to make sure this is interactive. So please, enter any thoughts that comes up, questions that comes up. Yoshi-san will be helping me as I'm presenting. It's difficult for me to follow the chat box. So your son will be in charge of looking after the chat box. So please enter your questions, your thoughts there. And as we're going through the presentation today, I'll make sure we'll touch as many as we can. If we can't, we'll find a way to get back to you. Okay. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. You can bear with me just 1 second. Okay, so I hope you're seeing the title screen, Reimagine Your Career and Life in 2020 with Ikigai. If you see it, if you can put in yes in the chat box, that would be extremely helpful. Yeah, do you see it? Yes, okay, good. I see a lot of yeses. That's what I wanted to see. Great, so if you're seeing this and you're in the right place, that's good. Okay, let's get going. So next question is, have you seen this diagram before? Yes, no. Yeah, I see heads nodding. So if you've seen this diagram before, put in yes, no, I just want to get a sense. I see a lot of yeses. I see some no's. Good. Okay, so keep on coming. So what this is this became really famous around 2016, I should say. It went viral. So this is a diagram of Ikigai, which in 2016, there was a writer there was Spanish who wrote a book around Ikigai, and they put this diagram in the book, and that's how it got really famous. Yeah, so I just wanted to get a sense of how many people know. So we'll talk more about this as we go through the presentation today. Okay. So today I'm going to share with you 3 things. The first is the definition of Ikigai, and then the next would be the misconceptions of Ikigai, because there's a lot that's been out there. And number 3 will be how Ikigai can help reimagine your career and life, right? The title of today's webinar was exactly this. So we'll talk about how Ikigai can help you reimagine your career and life. So those are the 3 things I'll be sharing with you today. And we've got lots to cover in a short amount of time, so I'm going to keep on going. But again, if you have any questions, please feel free to put that in the chat box. Okay, so there's one thing that's really important to me, is that this space, although most of us, is the first time we're meeting each other, but it's really important to me, especially with this topic, and actually, everything, any work that I do with my clients, is that we create a safe place for all of you that are here today, because we're all here, for a reason, and it's such a special space that we're in today, and I'm so grateful that you're really taking the time today to be here. So I want us to be able to create a safe place that we can support each other and respect each other. So this is a space of, again, a safe place, and then also I really invite you to bring the courage so that to share, to ask questions, because the more you give, the more you're in, the more you receive. Okay, does that make sense? So this is a place of respect and support for each of our journey, and a safe place and courage. Okay, so I want to hear if everyone can agree to that, to create a safe place and a respectful space. So in the chat box, you put yes, please. And if there's a no, I respectfully ask you that you leave this room, because I really want only people that are here to respect each other. Okay? And no hard feelings. If it's a no, that's fine. That's your choice. Okay? Wonderful. So far, I see a lot of yeses, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. This is the most important rule for any workshops, any work that I do. So I just want to really make sure that you're all, the people that are here are all yeses. And on that note, actually, talking about courage. So, you know, if this was in person, I would actually get to see, you know, each of your faces and I'll get to get a feeling of who you are. But unfortunately, or fortunately, we are in a virtual setting. So I really would encourage you, the courage part, if you can, if you're able to turn on your video so we can see each other, so we can connect with each other, even though we're not in the same room. So it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. You don't have to have makeup on. Your hair can be all over the place. Trust me, that doesn't matter. We're all here to grow for ourselves. So don't worry about that, okay? As long as you have your pants on and your shirt on, everything else goes, okay? So really, if you can turn on your video, that would be wonderful. So then each of us can see each other and really help each other too. Okay, but if you can't, no worries at all. Just know again that this, I know sometimes showing up takes a lot of courage, and I want you to use a space as, you know, as a place to take risks, to show up, because that's the first step to learning. Okay, so if you can, please do so. Thank you. Oh, it's wonderful. I can see all of your faces. This is so much fun. Yay. If you want to just wave your hand and say hi to each other. Great. Yeah, this is great. Okay. Good, good. So again, with learning and growing, it's all about being curious. It's all about really, you know, being fully in. So if you have any questions, you have any thoughts, you know, don't hold back. You know, use the chat box and ask. And sometimes I'm actually a slow learner, and a lot of thoughts just doesn't come, you know, when I'm listening to something. So what you can do is if something comes later, just jot that down, and I'll have my contact information at the end. So feel free to reach out. We'll have a link so that we can stay connected. So just jot those questions or thoughts down, you know, even after this presentation, so that we can, you know, stay in touch and you can continue your learning. Okay, great, cool. Okay, so since I asked you that you can always ask questions, at this point, are there any questions you're dying to ask? There is, feel free to put it in the chat box. If not, I'm gonna keep on going. And I see Jeff here says, shirt is on, but camera's not functioning. I get that, that happens too. I appreciate you have the shirt on. So wonderful, thank you. Okay, so no questions, gonna keep on going. So let's start with, what is Ikigai? So if you can, raise your hand. Who has heard about Ikigai before you saw this training? Who has heard or saw the word? Heard of Ikigai before? You raise your hand. I see a lot of hands up. Or you can put yes in the chat box, either way. Okay, good. It looks like about half, or maybe less than half. Okay. So Ikigai, and it's pronounced Ikigai. So I kind of joke, sometimes it's hard to remember, just remember, I mean, there's, you know, it's gender neutral, but it's like a guy. He's an Ikigai. Well, it helps to kind of remember. But Ikigai is a Japanese word that the direct translation is a reason for being, or a reason for living, or a meaning for life, or what makes life worth living, or it could be the reason for which you wake up in the morning, right? So the reason why you wake up in the morning, why you live. So that is the traditional definition of what Ikigai is. So if you look it up, and there's tons of blog posts, people have written about Ikigai. There's tons of books out there as well about Ikigai. So you'll see a lot of variations of what the meaning is. And today I would love to introduce my definition, but this is the basic, the foundation. Okay, so in English, some people might translate it into purpose, which is a very close word to Ikigai. But I would argue there's more into Ikigai than just purpose. So I'll talk more about that as we go through. So let me kind of introduce you about what Ikigai is a little bit more. So um, in 1966, Dr. Miyako Kamiya, uh, she was a psychiatrist. She wrote a book on Ikigai, and it was, and the title is Ikigai ni Tsuiten. Actually, this is how I first um, found out about Ikigai, I should say. This book was in my family's bookshelf. So my mother actually owned this book. So from a very, very young age, I saw that exact title that you see in the left upper hand corner on the slide. I saw the book in our bookshelf. And I've read through it, but when I was young, it was a little bit too difficult for me. So I didn't really read through. It was just always there. So it was always on my mind. But Dr. Miyako Kamiya is an amazing person. And she was, as I said, is a psychiatrist. And after World War II, she, was working at a sanatorium that treats leprosy patients. And at that time, now in today's world, it's curable, and it's not like you have to be isolated. But back in the days, people who had leprosy, as you probably all know, were treated as if they were unhuman, right? Inhuman. They were completely isolated because of how they get disfigured. They were, just basically had no interactions with anyone else, and with blisters and just getting all bloody, and it was just so painful. And she saw these patients, even at the worst, in that situation, in that environment, still seeing this really passion for life. She saw them reading books with their lips, because a lot of leprosy patients would go blind and couldn't see, but even their lips are all blistered, right? And then they're still reading even when there's some, even if it hurts and they're bloody. And she would just see people, trying to live and having so much passion to live in that worst place of their lives. And she just really wondered, where does that come from? Like, can you imagine being in that place, like where, like, and still having that hope to live? So that's where when her, like, she started to do, like, basically go deep into the research, and she wrote this book, Ikigai ni Tsuite. So this is really, in modern days, the word Ikigai itself, if you look into the Japanese history, it shows up in hundreds years before, but really today's, the definition that we use today, I believe, based on what I've researched and studied, really comes from her. So Dr. Miyako Kamiya. And my own journey, I should say. So I grew up in Japan, and I came to the States actually for business school. And I had an amazing career. I really enjoyed my career, and it was, I was on this leadership track, went to business school, all those MBA kind of stuff, and, lived in an amazing condo, and I had a great car, and I had a really great life traveling all around the world. But at some point, I started to feel really not sure if this is really what I wanted. And when I remember when I was in this new position, it was a position that had a lot of exposure in the company. It was one sections of the company that really was profitable. So we're always like in the spotlight. But I remember when I was in meetings, I just had suddenly this fear of not really sure, like, how to show up. I wasn't really sure what to say. It was kind of because of the toxic culture of the team. It was extremely competitive. Um, if you do something wrong, someone's basically coming after you, kind of environment. So if I said something that wasn't, like a small mistake, like, your colleagues would be like, Nozomi, that's not right, in front of the clients. And it was really, really competitive. And I just started to find myself losing confidence in myself. Before that, I was this extremely confident person. And I'll go more into this some other time. But I started finding myself getting smaller and smaller, and just started to also compare myself with my colleagues, feeling like, oh, he or she does better than I do, or is a better presenter or a better negotiator. and just finding myself at every time in a meeting just feeling smaller and smaller, and just being more and more afraid to speak up. And even when I say something, almost to the point that my voice is trembling because I am so unsure of what to say and about myself. And eventually that turned out to burnout. Physically, I started to feel like pain in my arms, that I had to go to the chiropractor every day. um, I was just so stressful that just feeling so much stress that when the only thing I was looking forward to was going back home and the bottle of wine that was waiting for me. And at that time, I was too lazy to cook because I was so tired and stressed out. So my friend was, what do you call it? Like a pack of Pringles, the long pack of Pringles and a red wine was my dinner. Although on the weekends I would go to Whole Foods and buy, great, a lot of healthy food, vegetables, like organic vegetables, and spend a lot of money there. But I was just so exhausted that during the weekdays, basically I would just come home to the bottle of wine and Pringles. So as you can imagine, physically, that's not healthy. So I'd really feel bad inside and out. So that kind of life went on for more than a year, and to the point that I just really didn't want to go to work anymore. I just hated everything about it. And I remember in the mornings when I was taking a shower, I would just cry because I didn't want to go. I just felt so miserable, and I just was be crying because I didn't want to go to work anymore. And trust me, I was a smart, capable person, but I was burnt out to the point and lost so much confidence to the point that I didn't want to go. And even so, I had to drive and get on, the highway to go to work. That I would think in my mind that, oh, I just wish my car gets hit so I don't have to go to work. Like, I was at that point that I really just everything about work was just I just couldn't take it anymore. I didn't wanna die. I just didn't wanna go to work. So I would quickly think, "Oh, no, 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 if my car gets hit, then, it'll be more trouble. Well, 1, I'll get hurt, and I didn't want that, and there'll be more trouble." So I was like, "Okay, I guess I do wanna safely get to work." But, all of this was happening, and really I got to a point of thinking about my life. Like, is this really the life that I want to live? Each of our lives are so precious. And I thought, this is not a way to live. And really in this the concept of Ikigai just came back to me at that time of, what is my reason of being here? Like, why am I suffering so much? Why am I choosing to live this way? And a lot of questions came up. And for me, ultimately it was, life is way too precious to live this way. I need to find my own way. And I did. I mean, it was a journey. I decided to leave corporate after 15 years, really having a successful career up to that point, I should say. And I decided to launch my own coaching, consulting, and training firm, and really working with people to help individuals and companies to create an environment that each people can really shine, because I believe that each of you have a purpose, each of you have an ikigai, and when you are really living fully, if you are following that, you will show up bigger and better, and you each can do so much more. Which means for individuals, that's really living your life. For companies, that means as a company, your employees will be more engaged, motivated, and will do so much more. And as a company, you'll grow and can provide better services and products to your customers as well. So that was my journey. So Ikigai really is something that's extremely important to me. And that's why I'm so passionate about that, because I know the difference and I know how much this can impact each person. And this is really my reason why that I'm doing this today. So, here I want to share with you a video. Actually, this is an advertisement that a very big famous company put together, but they beautifully put together what Ikigai is. So Yoshi-san, can you share the video to everyone?
沖縄には生きがいという言葉があります。毎朝起きる原動力を与えてくれるものだと思います。
目覚まし本当に遠くに投げ捨てようかなと思う時もあるんだけど、我慢して自分のお尻に鞭を打って起きて走りに行きます。
踊りの竜舞道場に通っている生徒たちの成長を見るため。
そうですね、私の生きがいは、いつも馬に会いに行くために、仕事をしに行きながら、責任を持って人とも馬とも接していっていますね。
お客さんがね喜んでもらえたら一番嬉しいんだけど、
いや自分には兄弟もいないし、この孫たちがたくさんいて、たまには孫たちが寄ってくるさね。もう本当これが生きがいである。
世界チャンピオンになりたいんだって、俺はなるんだって、家族のために、チームのために、自分自身のためにということが生きがいですね。
家族があったり友達がいたりいて、みんなに助けられてこいつのために助けたいとか、それを国も思わずできたり、仕事も目標があって、それに対しての勉強や努力は全然疲れない、苦にならない現状のことじゃないですかね。一日楽しむために起きてます。
沖縄では、ハッピー毎日が、幸せであればそれで生きがい。
Thank you, Yoshi-san. So, how was that for you? What do you take away from the video? If you can enter that in the chat. Anything really, there's no right or wrong answers here, so just let me know, just share with the group. What do you take away? What did you notice? Feelings, let's see. Simple things make happy. Wasn't quite distinguished my Ikigai is what I took away. Yeah, it can be mundane things. Peaceful. Yeah, wonderful. Keep it coming. It seems like their Ikigai seems like a much more simple thing than what's often shown with the 4-circle image. Sounds like, yeah, that's a great observation. Yeah, it encapsulates the essence of Ikigai so well. Loved it. Yeah, thank you, Maki-san. Yeah. So John says, doesn't matter the thing, just the purpose. Yeah. Matthew says, no one mentioned anything about money. They're thinking of deeper things. Yes. So Mary says, doesn't have to relate to work, career, money. Wonderful. Dedication. Liz has a great question. All these people had things off the beaten track, but it's possible for regular worker bees have it too, right? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll talk more. I hope we have enough time to talk about that more today. But if not, we'll have another opportunity. I have more trainings coming up around Ikigai. At the end, I'll make sure actually, Yosan, if you want to, you can put the link in there. So for folks who want to learn more about Ikigai, obviously today we only have an hour, and this is a huge, extremely important topic. So we have other trainings that will come, free trainings are coming up. So Yoshi-san will put in the link so that you can be on the email list. So when the schedule's up, we can send you the information. Yeah, wonderful. Tied to human connection to a sense of purpose. I love that. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. Well, if there's any other reflections, anything else you took away, please keep on, entering that into the chat and keep on thinking about this. There's a lot in that really simple video. So Dr. Kamiya, again, that I introduced you earlier, she had these really basic questions, which are just almost like really, hits your heart. So the question is, when you think about Ikigai, the first one is, what is my existence for? Like, why am I here? What is my existence for? And also thinking about, who is it for? Is it for me, or is it for someone else? Is my existence for me or for someone else? Like, for example, in the video, one of the elder ladies talked about her ikigai is to, feed the family or take care of the family. So it's for her, right? Or for her family or for grandkids. So that's a question to really ponder and think about. And the second question is, what is the purpose of my existence? So again, it sounds really similar to what is my existence for, but there's a subtle difference here. What is the purpose of my existence? If there is any, am I faithful to it? So these are, again, very simple in words, but very deep questions. And I just want you to, take just a few seconds here, and write them down if you can. And your son has actually put them in the chat box, so you can even copy and paste them and put them, save them. But really, these are big questions to think about. I would highly, recommend and invite you to journal about this, because these are questions that no one can answer for you but yourself. So really think about, what is my existence for, and who is it for? Is it for me? Is it for someone? Who is it for? And what is the purpose of my existence? And if there is any, which I believe there is, but if there is any, am I faithful to it? Am I really living that? Okay, these are big questions to think about. And I also encourage you to talk about this, maybe with your loved ones, maybe with your friend, or maybe within this group, since you're here in this safe place, right? That's why this safe place is so important. If you want to connect with each other, use the chat box and connect with each other. And you might want to talk about this, right? These are things that we don't, in everyday life, we don't take enough time to really think about these deep questions. So I really invite you to do that. But I would say the easiest would be to journal and have that conversation with yourself. Again, we don't take enough time to have conversations with ourselves. Our days are so busy. We're so busy about thinking, like, what's for lunch, what's for dinner, when do I have to pick up my kid, what do I have to, what's my to-do list? So, really, spend this time and to, spend time around these questions. So when your life is not aligned with your Ikigai, or if you don't know what your Ikigai is and you're just existing day by day, if you're just going through day by day, a lot of things happen. And usually it's on the negative side. And it impacts your health, your well-being. Like I shared with my example, I physically felt the pain. My well-being wasn't a good place, right? I'm borderline depressed, right? Because I was crying in the shower. I wanted my car to get hit. Like, that's not a healthy thinking. Relationship-wise too, it made me, not be a really happy person around people. I'll be jealous about people's success. That's not good for relationships. Leisure and fun, I wouldn't take time to do a lot of things. I wasn't going out or enjoying things. Spirituality, that also gets really impacted too. You're not taking enough time, again, around spirituality, or really even thinking about it or immersing yourself into it. Your career gets a hit because you're losing your confidence. You're not really sure who you are. You're not really sure what the direction of your career is anymore. And finances too, with all of this, you might make bad decisions when it comes to finances. And your environment, for example, a lot of times when your life is not in a good place, you can see, like, your environment, like your office is or your house is messy, or your car is messy, or just even when it comes to environment, you might not have the right people in your life. So it kind of overlaps with relationships, but that's also your environment. Or you might not be working in the right place. So that is also environment as well. But when you do live your life aligned, when you do know your Ikigai and you are living your life aligned with your Ikigai, you have more time. When I say more time, meaning you have more time to do meaningful things that actually you really enjoy doing. And because of that, you have more energy, you have more fun, and you're a more fun person, and you become a more effective person because you're more passionate. You really, your whole body, not just your head, your mind, but your whole body and your soul, everything is in it. So you're more productive, you're more effective. And naturally you'll make more money because you're better at it, right? Like when it comes to my business, I make more money than I make in my corporate career, and our business keeps on growing because I myself is extremely passionate about this, and any of the challenges that comes my way they're challenges, and they're hard, but I'm excited to tackle those challenges. So naturally you can make more money, you become a better leader at home, at work, and you have better relationships. And again, you make better financial, decisions, and you're in a better financial situation. Your health is better. You're taking better care of yourself, and your living environment is in a better place. And this is because you know what your Ikigai is, and you're aligned, which is your North Star. So you'll align all of what you're doing, all of your time, your energy around that Ikigai, which creates that more time and energy. And for some people, you might call that work-life balance, which you might hear. And I really hate the word work-life balance in that, because I think it gives a misunderstanding for a lot of people what that looks like. But really, and I think you hear that a lot. But that is what really helps you to create, really reimagine your career and life, is to know what your Ikigai is, to really figure out and discover and define what your North Star is. So Ikigai is felt the most when what you want to do is also what you spend the most time of your time and energy on, right? And when your Ikigai is in line with your true nature, truly who you are, not the person that you think you are or you think you should be. From my own experience, I thought being successful in corporate is the only way to be successful, or I thought that was the most important thing in my life at that time. But that did not align with my true nature. I know that today, or I figured that out in 2012, 2013. But at that time, I thought that was important to me. So I was really going against my true nature. And also, you feel Ikigai the most when your life is aligned with your Ikigai. So going back to when you saw all the great things that happen when your life is aligned, you can, even if you know what your Ikigai is, if you don't align your life around that, things will not change. So really, if you want to reimagine, refresh, or recreate your career and life, knowing what your Ikigai is and aligning your life around that is the key to reimagine your career and life. And I don't want you to think I'm the only one, I'm just preaching and I'm the one who just believes in this. There's true stats in here, right? There's true data around this. For example, McKinsey, which is a very famous consulting firm, shares that people with a strong sense of purpose tend to be more resilient and exhibit better recovery from negative events. So this is a great example, especially at 2020. People that had that purpose actually did even better during COVID. And this is the same thing with businesses, right? There's businesses that even during this COVID time that grew because they knew what their purpose was. They knew what their mission was. They knew what their values were. And they were resilient and became more innovative and creative and actually grew through this time. And same with people. The well-being of people who say they are living their purpose are 5 times higher than people who don't. So the well-being is important to everyone. And if it's not if you feel like you're not if that's not been a priority for you, definitely I think a lot of people, 2020 was a year that people were starting rethinking. So people said they're living their purpose 5 times higher than people who don't. So the well-being was 5 times higher. Okay. And then this is also from McKinsey, but people who find their individual purpose congruent with their jobs find more meaning in their roles, and they are productive and more likely to outperform their peers. Okay, so sometimes you might think, oh, this is fluffy stuff. This is about, my purpose, my individual purpose. But really, if you can really, align everything, if your individual purpose is congruent with your job, if you can find meaning in your job, then in your role, I should say, then you'll be more productive. You'll be more effective. You'll outperform your peers. And that is why, especially for those here who are leaders, managers, executives, presidents, CEOs, it's so important that each person in your company knows their purpose and knows how that aligns with the organization's purpose. Because if they don't, they're basically just there to do minimal work, right? But if you can just imagine it's each of you, if you're congruent with your job, how much more you can do, how much more fun you'll have, how much more powerful you will be at work and at home. And it wouldn't feel like work, right? Or like how I felt like didn't want to go to work anymore. That wouldn't happen. You'll be so happy to wake up. And that's why we call this the secret, right? The secret that, how Japanese wake up in the morning and feel purposeful all day. And it doesn't just have to be Japanese. It just happens to be Ikigai is Japanese. But you can do this too. And your employees can do this too. Your team can do this too. It's not rocket science. It's very simple, yet very difficult at the same time. So there's 3 misperceptions about Ikigai in the West. So I brought this diagram back up. And a lot of you have already noticed that in the video. So this, I think, will not be a surprise to you. But as you can tell, this diagram says Ikigai is the cross-section of what you're good at, what you can be paid for, what the world needs, and what you love. Okay, and I say that's not right. That's not true. So number 1, Ikigai is what you can be paid for. That's myth number 1. And I say Ikigai isn't about money. It does not necessarily have to be your work. It can be, and if it is, that's amazing. But it doesn't have to be. Ikigai can be your work, it could be your family, it could be your grandchildren, it could be a dream, or it can simply be the spiritual feeling that life is worth living. It's so much more than just work, right? So Ikigai is much more than just that. Myth number 2, Ikigai is what the world needs. And I say Ikigai comes from within you. So if you're looking for what the world needs, and I made that mistake in my career too. I first started out after business school as an analyst because back in the days, or maybe even today, they talk about hard skills, right? If you can be a really strong analyst, I was told, or I believed, that you could, climb the corporate ladder pretty quickly and be one of those talents that everyone would want. It's transferable to any industry. You can go wherever you want, and it's a great skill to have, which I believe is a great skill to have, but that's not a reason. That should not be the only way you look for a certain career or job. So if you look for what the world wants, then you're missing out really about like that joy part, what you really want to do. So Ikigai has to come from within. And people who have a firm Ikigai would be those who realize their own mission, your purpose in life, and then they are intentionally progressing towards your goal. So naturally, because it comes from within and you know what your North Star is, you're intentionally day by day, everything you do, every breath you take, every step you take, everything is progressing towards your goal naturally. And that's what makes that person so powerful. And it looks almost effortless because they're not struggling. They're doing it with joy and love. because it's coming from in that internal place. It's their desire that just comes without being forced. And the third misperception, the myth, would be Ikigai is what you are good at. And I say, you don't have to be good at it from the very beginning, right? Because Ikigai itself is a lifelong process. It's not like your job, like you have to do it now. This is something that you will be working on throughout your life because it's something that's important to you. It's your North Star. So you don't have to be perfect at it from day one. Naturally, because it's something that comes from within, you'll work towards it and you will become good at it. It won't become a chore to work on it because it's really important to you. So I say, really, the diagram, all of that, is important. It'll be great if it's something that the world needs. It'll be great if you can be paid for. It'll be great if you're good at it from day one. But again, that's not the core essence of it. Ultimately, it is what you love. It is what is important to you. It is what you care about. It is what you desire. And sometimes it's hard to figure that out because a lot of times coaches, and if you've worked with any of them, they will say, what do you want? And I'm a indecisive person. So even when you have to order dinner, I always go last because I can't decide. It's like, I don't know what I want. And even with the clients that we work with, we find that question, what do you want, is a difficult one. So don't freak out. That's okay. And this is a big question to ask. What do you really want? So that's another question I would invite you to start journaling. What do I want? What do I want in my life? And keep on journaling. Don't, just stop once you get one sentence out. Keep on journaling about that. What do I want? What do I love? What brings me joy? These are big questions to ask and very important ones. So here's my definition of Ikigai. And this is mine, my own. So you can agree, disagree with this. That's totally fine. But here I go. So Ikigai is what we live for and is an expression of our brilliance. So each of us has brilliance within us. And you might not know that yet. Some of us, we've been, programmed for so long. There's so many, like an onion, there's so many layers. In the core, we can't see the core yet. But there's brilliance in each person. And Ikigai ultimately, is what we live for, right? Every day, that's what we wake up for. And that naturally will be the expression of the core of your brilliance. So that's what I believe Ikigai is. And that's what we teach and coach and train for individuals, for executives, for organizations. So you talk about organizational excellence, right? Ultimately, excellence comes from each person in the organization really shining and really working together and knowing what their brilliance is, right? That's what the beauty of teams are. If you had people that had the same skill set in the same team, that's not a great team. It's one-sided. The beauty of teams, the strength of teams, the power of teams is when you have people with different skill sets, different strengths, and they come together. And that's what makes a powerful team. That's what makes an amazing company. That's why today we talk a lot about diversity inclusion, because you need to have diverse organizations and teams and such. And the leaders need to know how to lead in that environment today. So all of this, although we're talking about your career and life as an individual, it all links organizations and teams. Okay, so Ikigai, really what it is, it's your North Star. So there's lots of different, ways to get to your destination. But if you don't know what your destination is, even ways can't, take you there, right? You need to know where you're going. And that's what Ikigai really ultimately is. There could be millions of paths. And that's why you don't need to know how to get there today. But what you need to know is what your North Star is. And that's what, that's what we help our clients to figure out, is what their North Star is. So with individuals, it will be their life. For teams and organizations, it will be as a company, as a team, what is their North Star? But if you don't know where you're going again, you can't get there. It's so simple, but it's so true and so important. So to reimagine your career and life, start from knowing who you truly are. A lot of times people start from the vision, but you can only create a vision from the place of who you are. So if you don't know who you are, your vision will be the vision that you think it should be, not the true vision for yourself. So in the same with career, you'll live a life of what you think it could be your parents, life that they wanted, or what your society wants you to have. That happens a lot because they don't know who they truly are. So know what your strengths and unique talents are. Know what your life compass is, and we work a lot around this. And what that is your value. Fundamentally, what's important to you, and that will give you your life compass that you can decide what's right or wrong for you. Because each of you are unique. What's right for me might not be right for you. So you need to know what your life compass is. And then number 3 is you need to know what the source of joy in your life is. What do you really love doing? Okay, so these are 3 things that you need to know. And this is really is the total, the whole of really who you truly are. And Oscar Wilde famously said this, and this is, I love this quote, is be yourself, everyone else is already taken. So this is a work that no one else can do it for you. Truly, this is something that only you can do for yourself. And you deserve to take time out of your life, your busy life, to do this, because you are so important and you are so special. So just know, you deserve to take care of yourself. You deserve to do this work. So with the Ikigai journey to really imagine your career and life, there's 3 phases. And these are the 3 phases that we walk through our clients, regardless of the individual, or if it's a team, or if it's an organization. So we start with awakening, really understand discovery of yourself, right? Discovery of what your compass is, or what your joy is, what your mission is, what you're passionate about, all of that. And the second phase is to vision, right? That North Star. Where are we heading? What life do we want to create? What world do we want to create? And then aligning everything. And we have 7 areas that we divide the person's life. And if it's an organization, we divide it in different ways, in four different ways. You have to align all of that towards, that North Star. And that's when you can really reimagine your career and your life. So that's the phases that we walk through our clients. And that's how we, our programs are designed as well. And then the secret to living a purposeful, joyful, and successful life, there's 5 elements to an Ikigai lifestyle. And today, unfortunately, we don't have time to go through all of them, but I just want to share this with you. There are 5 elements, 5 pillars, you might say. And the 5 are all in Japanese words, so it might be hard to remember, but it's kansha, which means gratitude, kintsugi, which means golden joinery, but I would call it embrace imperfection. Ichigo ichie, which means once in a lifetime, so cherishing the moment, being present. And kawa means river in Japanese, so it's about the flow. How can you make everything flow? And the last element is kaizen, which means continuous improvement. So with these 5, and each of them are important in their own ways, those elements will help you to really live that Ikigai lifestyle and to really live your life with purpose and joy and ultimately be successful. So you cannot and should not blame the environment for a lack of Ikigai. After all, it's up to you to find your own Ikigai in your own way. And this is a quote from Ken Mogi. He's a neuroscientist, a Japanese neuroscientist, who actually wrote a book about Ikigai too. And it's a great book. So if you go to Amazon, you can just put in Ken Mogi Ikigai, will come up. It's another book I highly recommend. But again, it's in your own way. And actually, I know it's how hard it is to do things in your own way. It's easy to say, but there's so much noise in our life, right? You have so much responsibility, so many things. You have your family, kids, work, and there's so many people, all these noise. It's really difficult to find what your own way is. But again, only you can find this, and you need to do this work. So this is the Japanese word of a crisis, kiki. So it's about danger. So it's two Chinese characters, and one means danger and one means opportunity. So at any time, there's always two sides to a coin. So this is your time to look at, if you take, this 2020, 2021, and if you look at this as a time of danger, or like it's all bad, then that's what it's going to be. But if you look at this as a time that, there's a lot of opportunity, then opportunities will come to you. So everything is just a perspective. Everything has two sides. So I really invite you, whatever situation you're in, know that there's always two sides, and you have a choice. You can choose which side, which view you want to see this situation. So if you feel like you have no hope, if you feel like you're stuck, or you feel like just nothing is going well, or you just don't know what to do, know that there is an answer. There is a good side, because there's always two sides, okay? And a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, right? This might be like a huge thing. It's like Nozomi's talking about this huge life. It's a big topic. Ikigai is such a huge topic. And it might feel overwhelming. And I understand. But just know everything starts from a single step. And we are here, I'm here to help you break that down into those small steps so you don't have to be overwhelmed. And that's why, I'm so passionate about this, because I know there's so many people that try to do this on their own and they get overwhelmed. They read a book and it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then they never do anything about this. And a year from now, 365 days from now, you're in the same exact place. And I don't want you to feel like that. Since you're here, I know you want to make a difference. So if you are, a mid-career professional, you're, feeling stuck, feel burnout, you want more work-life balance, you feel dissatisfied with where you are now, feeling there's more to life, but you're not really sure, knowing there is more in you, and you're unsure about the direction of your career. And if you want to make and reimagine your career in life, if you want to make 2021 your best year yet, if any of these sound like you, please put in the chat box yes if you feel like any of these apply to you. Yes? Yeah? Yes. Good, yeah. If any of these feel like, if you've ever felt like this, let me know. Yeah, right? Like all of us. Height, exactly. So if that's the case, I really want to invite you to be the first to know about our upcoming new free training. We're putting together, like I said, Ikigai is just so important, and really I'm extremely passionate about this. So we have a new training coming up. So if you want to be the first to know, sign up. And this URL, this link, I know it's really long. So if you can put that into the chat box again, I would really appreciate that. So that we will send out, it's going to probably be next month in February, but we'll have trainings, ongoing free trainings for all of you, so you can really learn more about Ikigai. And today we, kind of rushed through the whole thing. There's a lot to it. I'd love to share more with all of you. So yeah, please sign up to this list so we can share more to you. Great. I went over 2 minutes. I apologize for that. I know you're all very busy, but I appreciate you hanging in there with me today.
Nozomi-san, a virtual round of applause. I highly, highly recommend you sign up for her free trainings and learn more about not only about her work, but all her passions at her website, which is in the chat box. Read more up on it. There's a lot of books on Ikigai too. And hopefully Nozomi-san can write her own book about Ikigai one day.
That's true. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. And feel free to reach out. So if you want to stay in touch, again, if you have more questions, make sure you sign up. to this that link, because that's the way we can stay in touch. You'll get all the information. I'll know who you are and all that. But also feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. All those great tools and platforms that we have today. I'm like the only Nozomi Morgan out there, so I think it'll be really easy to find me. So feel free to do that as well. Thank you so much. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you. Well, have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And we'll be sending out a survey out about this program too. So let us know your feedback, and you can also, if you want to learn more about Nozomi-san and her trainings, you can let us know there as well. The Japan American Society, we do have a number of events coming up. Please join us. Visit our website for more information. If you're not a member, we highly encourage you to join our membership as well. But happy Friday, everyone. Stay safe, be well, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.